Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's virtual plant clinic. My name is Bill Lester. I'm with University of Florida IFAS Extension Service here in Hernando County, Florida. And today, as you can see, because there's only one little block here, I am all alone and all by myself, except for you guys viewing in live. My regular co-host Lily has a dentist appointment this morning, so you might want to keep her in your thoughts and prayers. I know going to the dentist is never fun. I'm sure it'll all work out fine though. We should have Teresa on here. So if anybody asks any difficult questions, she's always in the background pulling up links to all the University of Florida fact sheets and information that we need to kind of help back up the information and advice that we're giving. And I wanted to pop on today to take anybody's questions. I have to leave a little early because I have another meeting I have to go to about finances and paperwork. Not my favorite topic. So, Maggie, yeah, I'm sure she'll be fine. Well, I don't know. She said it was probably a root canal. She's not sure if they're doing the work today or just having another look at it. So, like I said, that's never fun. Austin, how are you doing? Haven't seen you on here for a while. Hopefully the weather up north is not too hideously freezing cold. Bill, good morning. How are you? Yeah, we got a few people on here today. So let me go ahead and make mention of something very, very important. Next Thursday is going to be our 3-year anniversary virtual plant clinic, and we're pretty excited about that. So what we're going to do next week is if any of you want to come on with us, because Lily will be here with me also. We're hoping to have at least one or two other guests on here. But if you'd like to actually join us live online, if you have a working camera, either on your laptop, I have one on my laptop, I have a nice webcam here, and a microphone so that we can actually hear you. If you email us, we'll email you the link and you can pop in and join us right here on the virtual plant clinic. So I thought it was something interesting to kind of shake things up a little bit. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I never thought that we would keep this going for 3 years and we'd have so many regular people tuning in each and every week. And I'm sitting here looking at all these names of people who join us just about every week, and I'm just amazed that you've actually stuck around. It must be because of Lily and Bernie or Teresa in the background. Here's Teresa. Um, but this is great. This is a great opportunity and something that nobody else ever thought of that we put together and we're actually following through. Uh, Corey, if you're talking about normal people to be able to come on here with us, you don't have to be all that normal. You're going to have to behave yourself. Remember, guys, this is a family show. But other than that, next week I'm going to keep posting. It'll probably be Teresa's email. If you email her, she'll send you the link, and you can pop in. I'll see you in the waiting room. I click, and then boom, you have your own little Hollywood squares here, and you can talk, ask your questions. So many of you we see here each and every week, we've never met you in person. So seeing you on camera will get us kind of one step closer to that. Um, Austin up there, way up north, got snow over the night. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Maggie, my job does involve a certain amount of finances, paperwork, reporting, Excel files, annual paperwork. Next week, we're supposed to have my boss on here, so you can all kind of join in and tell him that he needs to make sure I have less paperwork due. I'd appreciate that. Lee, thank you so much. We love you guys too. And Lee, thank you so much for sending the email with pictures from your local community vegetable garden and all the pictures from it. Looks like you guys are doing very, very well on your own down there. South Florida is a great place for growing vegetables. You need to make sure your timing is correct though, because it can get very hot. But the nice thing is during the winter, it never gets really, really cold down there, which I hate the cold. I don't mind the heat. I'm used to the heat. I've been in Florida for a long time. Heat's okay. I hate the cold. So I think I would like it down there. Every time I visited Miami and Homestead, I've liked it. I'm amazed at all the tropical fruits people have just growing in the middle of their front yard. We went to visit somebody in Miami, and the house right across the street from them, they were in kind of a pretty tight neighborhood, but the house across the street had a massive lychee tree out front, and it had fruit on it, and they're just falling off. The squirrels are eating them. Hopefully, the people who live there pick them and eat some. So it's amazing what you guys have going on down there. Um, we did have one question here, Corey. I am planting, well, I need to get the last of my warm season spring things into the ground. I put my tomato transplants in, my pepper transplants. I still have to get my bush beans and pole beans in, which are, what is this? This is March 23rd. Yeah, it's technically, as far as I'm concerned, a little bit late at this point, but they'll do okay. If I get them in really, really soon, they'll still do okay. And then I'm waiting because it's still a little early for it, but in the next, when I put them in May or maybe June, I'm going to do calabaza once again. I have some seeds for Seminole pumpkin. I have seeds for uh, orange bulldog pumpkin, which is a variety of pumpkin that was developed by University of Georgia, Georgia Bulldogs, and it's supposed to do really, really well in the heat of summer. So hopefully I'll be able to get some actual pumpkins. They don't make beautiful pumpkins. So I know if I'm expecting a beautiful jack-o'-lantern stereotype Halloween pumpkin, it's probably going to be a little bit deformed and bumpy on one side. But I grow pumpkins to eat. I don't grow them to carve and waste. If I'm going to spend time and energy growing something, I'm going to eat it. And sweet potatoes. I'm going to grow a boatload of sweet potatoes this summer. So I'm looking forward to putting them in, because with most of them in early summer, when you get them in the ground and they get up and growing, if we get regular rainfall, I don't have to do anything for a while. I can just kind of take a break, do other things, check on it, but they're going to come up, they're going to grow, they're going to spread, flower, fruit. I got to keep an eye open for caterpillars, maybe stink bugs, other sort of pests, but they're generally pretty low maintenance things. So Austin, way up north, is summer ever going to be here? It's supposed to be mid to upper 80s here this afternoon. So feels like summer's here. Bassem, thank you so much. It's kind of as much a happy anniversary for you guys as it is for us. So we're all going to try our best to have fun next week. So everybody be sure, put on your calendars to log in next Thursday. Maggie, I totally agree. Maggie says she loves the food and cultures in Miami, but the traffic and crime is horrendous. Traffic is terrible because living here in Hernando County in Spring Hill, there's never a whole lot of traffic here. Even during rush hour, there's really not much traffic. Not like driving around downtown Miami. Oh my gosh, it just takes forever to get anywhere there. Teresa shared a link for what things to plant during what months in different parts of Florida. That's a really, really good guide to go by in general, because timing is very important here in Florida. Maggie wants to know the best pumpkin for pumpkin pie. Any of the, and they're called pie pumpkins, and they tend to be small pumpkins. They're only a couple pounds each. They're the ones you'll find them in the grocery stores in the fall, and they call them pie pumpkins. There's a couple that have, if it has the word sugar or sweet in the name, it's a good choice for a pumpkin pie. And any of those pumpkins that are good for pumpkin pie, you can cook pumpkin just like a winter squash, because that's what it is. So you can have it as a side dish. I like it. I like the taste of just pumpkin. And of course, you can season it: salt, pepper, pumpkin pie type spices. on top of your pumpkin as a side dish. High in fiber, high in vitamins A and C, very, very good for you. So pumpkin, you could do a lot more than just pumpkin pie with it. Lee says the iguanas ate all of her sweet potato vines and southern peas. You guys have a lot of lizard problems down there. And I need to schedule, and this would probably be on Facebook Live, probably on Monday morning, just a little quick class or information on invasive lizards, because there's another one or two species that they're kind of looking for. They know they're in Florida. They're just not sure exactly where in Florida they are, how far they've spread. But yeah, South Florida gets all the lizards. The ones that could take a little bit of cold will get eventually. So keep watching us, keep following us on Facebook. I need to organize a class on that. There's a new lizard they're looking for. One of the common names is, believe it or not, the Jesus lizard, because they seem to be able to walk on water. So they don't really walk on water. I think they run so fast onto the water, they just kind of skim along the top. So it looks like they're walking on water, but that's another one that University of Florida, Florida Department of Agriculture, everybody wants everyone to be on the lookout for. So I'll have a guest on. I am not the lizard expert, but I do know some, so I'll have a guest on and we'll cover lizards really soon. Teresa has a link for growing sweet potatoes on here. And let me go ahead and throw this in. Be sure to check out my recorded class videos and Lily's on Hernando County Government's YouTube. If you go to YouTube, the little search box up at the very top, type in Hernando County Government, and then click the little spyglass and go to Hernando County Government's YouTube. If you look under the playlist for Florida Friendly Landscaping, Lily has about 105 classes on there. There's a lot of them that I'm on also, but a lot of them it's just her. And I have my own playlist also for Hernando County Extension. And we have a class that we did, it was either last year or the year before that, on growing sweet potatoes. And I got a sweet potato research expert on. She works with commercial sweet potato growers over on the east coast of Florida in the greater St. Augustine area, because they grow a lot of cabbage over there during the winter. They grow potatoes in late winter, and they're growing more and more sweet potatoes over there because they do well and they're profitable. Hey, kind of a win-win. So she does a lot of work with them, showing them how to grow sweet potatoes. So it was a really, really good class. If you want to grow sweet potatoes, be sure to watch it. And Teresa, with the pumpkin question, small sugar is a popular variety grown in the northeast areas of the country. They will grow down here. You have to grow them in the spring or fall. Spring is going to be easier. Here's some other tasty varieties of pie pumpkins. I've heard of cheese pumpkins. I don't know if I've ever tried them before. Kentucky Field is probably an old variety. They're all definitely worth a try. They're really difficult to grow here in Central Florida because they get a lot of disease problems. So like I said, you can grow them in the early spring or you can grow them in the fall. Early spring is going to be, you're going to have your best chance for success. And that's if you want to get a pumpkin that you're going to eat or make a pumpkin pie out of. You can pumpkin, you can freeze pumpkin. For people who want to grow their own Halloween great big jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, that's really, really hard to do here in Florida. There's really no or almost no commercial growers of pumpkins here in Florida. All the big ones, the big pumpkins you see at the grocery stores for Halloween, they're growing up there in Michigan, Pennsylvania. A lot are grown in Pennsylvania and then shipped down here. So they don't have as many disease problems up there in the summer. They have some, but we have a lot of disease problems down here with pumpkins and other cucurbits. So It's great to try growing your own jack-o'-lantern pumpkin during the summer for Halloween, but it's going to be a tough one. You're going to have to be an advanced gardener to be able to pull that one off. Um, Lee, University of Florida does have the Florida Garden Guide for South Florida. It's broken up really well. So when it comes to what crops are going to grow here and when to plant them, it's divided up by North Florida, Central Florida, and South Florida. And in the footnotes, it even tells you where it considers the dividing lines to be. Of course, there's always a little bit of variability with that. So let's say you're in Central Florida, but you're only 10 miles from North Florida. You're kind of in between. South Florida, you don't have to go very far south of here if you live on the coast to be kind of South Florida weather. So for like Pinellas County, is that Central Florida? Is it South Florida? I'm not really sure, but the Vegetable Gardening Guide is going to give you a good starting point about when to grow different vegetables, when to start them, when to start seeds for them, when to actually put them in the ground, and when not to. Because I see people asking on Facebook all the time, all winter long. They're like, what's wrong with my cucumbers? I'm thinking they froze. They don't take the cold weather. All summer long, they're asking, what's wrong with my lettuce? It's way too hot. Can't grow lettuce here outdoors in the summer. Way too hot. So timing is very, very important. But yeah, if you, I'm sure Teresa, and here we go. See, before I even say it, Teresa's reading my mind and sharing these publications. Um, University of Florida has vegetable gardening guides, gardening guides. These are all really good publications to give you an idea of what to plant when. Because if you live way, way up north, like Austin does, who I believe lives up in Wisconsin, you can grow the same thing, a lot of the same things up there, but you're planting them a totally different time of year. Here in Hernando County, it's spring. Up there, it's still cold and snowy. So timing is very, very important. Cindy, good morning. How are you doing? In case you came on a little bit late, let me go ahead and mention again. Next Thursday is going to be our special 3-year anniversary show or clinic or edition, whatever term you want to use with it. And we are going to let you guys join us online. So next week, if you're on and watching and on your laptop or desktop or iPad or even your phone, when we send you the link to join us here, you can use your phone. You can open that link on your phone and you'll join in. You're going to have to figure out what buttons to push to choose the camera, choose the microphone. But if you have a working camera and a working microphone, we're going to let you on here with us so that you can ask your questions and comment and question and whatever else you want to say or do within reason. Come on, guys, it's a family production here. We're going to let everybody on here on the show with us because Lily and I get a little bit tired of being the only ones on here. Even Bernie gets a little bit tired of being the only one on. We want you guys to come and join us. I can get 10 people, I think, on the screen all at once. The blocks do get a little bit small, but we can fit 10 people live and a few more in the waiting room. So plan on joining us next week. Be sure to tune in and we'll explain and give you directions next week. Teresa asks, what about kohlrabi? Have any of you guys ever either grown kohlrabi or eaten it before? It will grow just fine here in Central Florida. And during the winter, it may even grow down in South Florida. I'm not sure how well, if Lee's tried growing it down in Broward or not. Kohlrabi, traditionally, it's like a northern vegetable. So up in New England, they grow kohlrabi, they eat it. It is a cabbage relative. And the way it grows is it gets a greatly expanded stem down near the base of the plant. So if I showed you a picture or if you saw it growing in the ground, you might think it kind of looks like a turnip with the turnip root popping up out of the ground. Nope. The stem swells up and expands and the leaves come off of it. And it looks like a round potato. If you take it and peel it and slice it up, it's kind of crunchy and light tasting. A lot of people say it tastes like water chestnut, and I'd have to agree. I've had it both raw and lightly cooked. So if you don't like it raw, you can lightly cook it. Oh gosh, up north, I don't know. Maybe they put it in soups and stews and cook it because they have like those weird things like rutabagas up north. I know Teresa likes rutabagas. I've never even had one before. So kohlrabi probably goes in the same types of things. But if you ever wanted to know more about kohlrabi than what I know about it, Teresa put a link to a University of Florida fact sheet there. And that's great, Lee. We are looking forward to having you on here with us live. And Lee is growing kohlrabi down there in Broward County. So at the right time of year, when it's not too hot, it should grow all the way down into South Florida. I know it's always been kind of a really niche vegetable, not the most well-known or most popular. You'll never find, I don't know, I've never seen it at a grocery store. Maybe if it gains popularity, you'll start seeing it at grocery stores in the future. I don't know. But I think it's good. It is healthy for you. It it's good variety. You know, if all you eat is, let's say, celery and carrots and iceberg lettuce, gets kind of boring after a while. You need to kind of break that up and add a little variety, a little excitement. We are coming into a very good time of year here in Florida where fresh corn is going to be available within the next couple of weeks, really mid-April. You'll start seeing it. Strawberries are still here, and they are about the cheapest they're going to get, and they look beautiful. Blueberries, they're just starting to pick. Blackberries are right behind them. So look online, find a You Pick farm near you this weekend. Go out there and check it out. Pick stuff, buy stuff. If you don't want to go and pick, a lot of times these You Pick places will pick it for you and have it for sale there. But it's great fun, very, very good, and very healthy for you too. And I will not have the link to even give you until next week. I have to create next week's video presentation. I have to create this room each week, but I will have the link next week and I'll send it out. And hopefully all of you can join us. Keep in mind, if we get 10 people on here, I'm going to have to rotate people in and out, kind of. It'll be a big shuffling thing on my end. I never had that many people in that I had to shuffle in and out. Yeah, be good practice, I guess. So showing a couple of banners here. If anybody ever has any Florida-friendly landscape related kind of questions, feel free to shoot Lily an email. There is her email address. So she is our Hernando County Florida-friendly landscape coordinator. She coordinates the program, not the landscapes. She can give you a lot of plant advice, recommendations, what to grow and what kind of spot. But really now, if you contact her, a lot of times she'll email back a couple of links to classes that she's done and recorded that are sitting on the Hernando County government's YouTube channel that you can watch and get information from. So if you ever email her, what can I grow in my yard in a shady spot? She's going to send you links to recorded classes to watch where she went through that topic, you know, at length, and puts a lot of really good resources and ideas and suggestions in there. If you ever need to email me a question, please feel free to do so. I do my best to get back to email questions as quickly as I can. Sometimes it's not as quick as I would like it to be, or maybe the people emailing me would like it to be. This time of year, we get really busy. It's spring. We have so many different gardening festivals going on. Earth Day is coming up. We have a big celebration on our Master Gardener Nursery. So for anybody local here if you're interested in our nursery. There's the address. We have a lot going on. So I'll get back, with your email question and try to answer it just as quickly as I can. And Lee said, oh, here, let's look in Dr. Bill's email. Let me go ahead and log in here. And we're getting into my email. And here we go. Okay, let me go ahead and share this with everybody. This is a kohlrabi growing in real life. Boom, and there we go. We actually made the technology work. So this is what a kohlrabi plant looks like. I know that they have red/purple kind of kohlrabi and white kohlrabi. So I know that there's at least two different varieties. There may be more varieties, and there probably are, so that they're going to have slightly different tastes or attributes with them. But you can see how the stem down near the ground is starting to swell a little bit. Looks kind of like a cabbage plant growing. So in the not too distant future, the right below the leaves is going to start to swell and turn into a round. Looks kind of like a baseball. Best way to describe it. And that is the part that you're going to actually eat. So you pick the whole thing, chop off the roots, chop off the leaves. I'm sure the leaves are still edible. The leaves may be really strong on it, so you may not like it that much, but I'm sure they're perfectly edible. They're safe for you to eat. And that's what kohlrabi looks like. So that's something to kind of add to your garden list and garden program for next year. You want to grow them during the winter here in Florida, the same time of year when you're growing the cabbage, the broccoli, the cauliflower. Kohlrabi is just another relative, very, very close relative, that you could try growing for a little added excitement in the vegetable garden. My broccoli did really well this past winter, but it always does really well. Broccoli, I've always found to be super easy to grow here in Central Florida anytime during the winter. So you can start in the fall. I wait until October to start those kind of things. You could probably push it and start a little bit earlier and then grow them all winter long. The broccoli plants, once they come up and you get that one big head of broccoli, take a pocket knife or clippers and cut that off and leave the plant. It's going to send out little tiny shoots on the side, and you can go out there and pick them and end up with a whole bowl full. And then keep doing that. Mine are still sending up shoots, but it's time for them to go. They need to make room for the bush beans that need to go in basically this weekend or as soon as I can get them in. So, yeah, Lee says that she used the young leaves from the kohlrabi in her salad. Very good for you. Maybe an acquired taste, so maybe not everybody's going to like it, but I try it. Bassam, we actually have a lawn and garden kind of question here. How often do I need to test my soil for a pH soil test? They recommend once a year, but you can go a bit longer. If your soil is generally normal, which means you're not having to add a lot of lime to raise the pH, or your pH isn't sky high and you're kind of fighting that, once a year, once every 2 years is fine. You really don't have to check it more often than that. If you get a soil test and your soil's pH is too low for what you're trying to grow, if you get the University of Florida to do the soil test, they'll send you recommendations how much to add. If you need a lot of lime, you may want to break it up into 1, 2, 3 applications instead of dumping it all on at once. That will move your pH up to where it should be, but after a year or two, it's going to drift back to where it originally was. So that's why you're getting a soil test done on some kind of regular basis. They're not very expensive, and it's really good peace of mind to let you know that, okay, my soil test is okay, nutrient levels are normal, I don't have anything really unusual or bizarre going on with my soil. Then, if you do have a problem, you can eliminate that and focus on what the problem might be. Anne Marie has a question here. Anne Marie had a freeze in North Florida, have my plants waiting in South Florida to go into the ground, have them in earth grow boxes, and many are ready to transplant. Earth grow boxes work very well. I've never owned a proper, because that is a specific brand, earth grow boxes. I've never owned one. I've had similar, but they do work very, very well. A lot of farmers in North Florida say not to plant until after Easter. Depends on exactly where in North Florida you are. Just north of us in like Levy County, I guess Dixie County, some of the other counties around there, they grow a lot of watermelons, and they're putting their watermelons in early this year because the weather is favorable, and they're hoping they're going to catch a really, really good market price. So you probably don't have to wait until Easter, but you know, Easter's almost here. It's only, gosh, what, 2 weeks away, something like that. So if you have things that you're worried about freezing, my guess is you're safe to put them in now. Feel like my season will be short. Yeah, it will be shorter than people in South Florida, but for a lot of crops, it's long enough, basically. This will be planted our last frost date when I place them in the ground. Hope it turns out okay. You know, there's always a certain amount of gambling when it comes to, oh, okay, you're up in Madison County. We have a master gardener who moved from here about a year or two ago to Madison County. There's not many people in Madison County. There's probably still more cattle in Madison County than there are people. Hopefully you have a very, very nice, quiet spot where you live, because it sounds like Madison County is a quiet kind of county. So you're right on the Georgia border. We have friends in Atlanta, and it's still cold up there. They're still getting freezes, so they're not putting their warm season vegetables in the ground yet, although they have started them from seed. So Madison County, this is March 23rd. My guess is you're going to be fine. If you want to wait till next weekend to put things in the ground, that's even closer to being completely fine. You should be fine. We'll all keep our fingers crossed and think positive. How's that? I had put a bunch of tomatoes and peppers and other things into the ground, and it got down to 39 degrees the other day. When I went out to my car, front windshield was packed with ice. I'm thinking like, oh no, all the stuff in the backyard is frozen and dead. And I instantly thought, well, if it did die, I still have to put the beans in. So they're not planted yet. They're going to be okay. And I'm just going to transition to immediately getting sweet potatoes and calabaza and pumpkins and things like that ready to go into the ground. You know, you have to be adaptable if you're a vegetable gardener here in Florida, because even though the weather might be fine for putting in things by a certain date for many years, every once in a while, you're going to get a surprise freeze, a huge cold front, a big storm, sometimes damaging storms. The winds are going to damage young vegetable plants. There's no guarantees out there in your backyard. So Lee says all of her winter vegetables were harvested except for cabbage and a few tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants. That's great. And it's funny because you consider tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants winter vegetables there. They're spring and fall vegetables here. So timing is just a little bit different up here. We generally, it's tough growing tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants here in Hernando County over the winter because we can and do and will get some kind of freezes. And if you've ever had tomato plants in your garden during a legitimate freeze where it gets to 32 degrees in your backyard in the garden, the plants the next day will start to look a little brown and bad, and they will turn to mush. They will, within 24 hours, any tomatoes you had on there will all fall off. All the leaves just, droop, turn brown, turn black, turn to goo, basically. They will die dead as a doornail. So I know people who grow tomatoes here over the winter, but they grow them in containers, or they have a greenhouse, or a hoop house, or a shade house. They have some kind of reliable way to grow them outdoors, but protect them from temperatures that get too close to 32 or below 32. So you can do it here. It's just you have to put a little bit more time and effort into it. I need to do a class. Where's my I need to do a class list here? Um, we'll do something on winter vegetable growing in protected situations. Okay, that's on the list. So, good idea for a class. Um, Anne-Marie, good luck. Um, like I said, Madison County, it sounds like it's beautiful up there. Peace and quiet doesn't bother me at all. You are definitely further north of here, so your timing is going to be a little bit different than ours. So when a cold front comes through, we're really not getting much of the cold weather from it here in Central Florida now, but it'll kind of skirt the top of the state and probably catch you with some really cold weather. So keep that in mind. So, hey guys, I need to wrap it up pretty shortly here. So, if anybody has any last minute questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. And we'll just kind of go right through all the different technicalities here. If you'd like to email me, there is my email address. If you'd like to know, well, what are these classes that you're talking about on YouTube and everywhere else, and sitting here making a list of, future classes? I'm glad you asked. If you ever want to find out what kind of classes we have scheduled and whether or not they're on Zoom or in person or on Facebook Live, or there's registration or no registration, maybe there's a fee, maybe there's not a fee. There's almost always not a fee. They're almost always free, but not always. If you want to know any of those things, just go to the web address scrolling along the bottom, www.hernandoextension, all one word.com, and all of our upcoming classes, mine and Lily's, are going to be there with all the information you need, all the links, the dates, the times, everything else to be able to watch it live. And if you can't make it live, keep in mind that we record just about everything that we do anymore. So chances are, if you miss it live and you go to either Lily's Facebook page or ours a day or two later, it's probably there because we do our best to put things back up for you guys to be able to view. We understand that people work, people are busy, people have kids to take care of, doctor's appointments, everything. I'm busy too. So we try to make it as easy for you to join in and get this information as possible. If you ever want to contact our office, there is our phone number. Teresa is here today. She is the one who keeps looking up the links and putting them in the conversation on our Facebook page. If you'd like to email Lily and tell her that you hope her dentist appointment worked out well, there is her email. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. We are always excited when we get new followers on Facebook and people that follow us. We do post a lot on Facebook, a lot of good information, upcoming classes. If I have something to talk about, I will literally, if Teresa's here also, we'll grab my phone, we'll go in the other room, we'll do a quick Facebook Live. We have topics that we do it on. I even have a little microphone that I can hook up to my phone so that you can hear me clearly. I don't have to yell and use my big room voice. So follow us on Facebook. We're always putting up more interesting things there. Here's the address to our Master Gardener Nursery. It is right behind the Hernando County Fairgrounds, right off of 41. So if you're familiar with Hernando County, you should know where that is. If you need more directions or anything, you should be able to GPS this address or give our office a call. Teresa can tell you how to get there. And let's see if we have any last moment questions here. Cherry, very good question. Wants to know, can I grow mango? I am from Central Florida. Depends. Depends on exactly where in Central Florida you are, which county, which town. A lot of times you can grow mango here in Central Florida and other tropical fruits. Mangoes, when they're very small and young, you can't let them get too cold. Can't let them really get anything below freezing. When they get larger and more established and better grown, they can take, depending on the variety, they can take temperatures down to about freezing or a little tiny bit below. The colder it gets, the more damage they're going to get during the winter. And keep in mind, if it gets damaged and not killed, it has to recover and grow back and make up for all that lost time. But yeah, you can grow mangoes. I need to get a mango tree. Lee gave me a recommendation. I still have that email about the variety that grows well in pots. If you're able to grow mango in a container, in a protected spot, like right by your front door, something right by your back door, if you have a way to keep it warmer when it gets really cold and a freeze or frost comes through your area, that helps also. You just can't put a mango in the middle of your front yard if the temperatures are going to get down to the mid 20s. So, Anne Marie, if you're going to ask about can you grow mangoes up in Madison County, you can, but you'll have to put them in a container and drag them in a garage, in your house, in the kitchen, somewhere when it gets really cold up there to keep them warm. It's possible, but it's going to be even more difficult. Now, for somebody like Lee, she can plant a mango in her backyard. It's going to grow like a weed. Probably does, and she probably gets quite a few mangoes off of them. But Sam, you are very, very welcome. Hold that thought because we're supposed to have my boss, Jim Davis, on here next week for the 3-year anniversary show. And it's always great when you tell him about how hardworking we are and what a great job we're doing. So everybody hold that thought for next week to share with Jim. Lee, thank you. The paperwork's not that bad. If you just sit down and do it and don't push it off, it's not as painful. And it's easier because you don't forget everything. When you put things off for 6 months, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't remember how many people were there or what I did or the date or whatever. That's when I get angry with myself. Teresa shared the link to University of Florida fact sheet on growing mangoes. A lot of good information on that. We've never done a class on mangoes. I'm going to do that. So, and it will be, like I said, the more south you are, the better. I have a delivery. Teresa, what could that be?
Something good.
I have no idea what it is. What did I order? Oh, it's a little bottle for me to send a water sample off to University of Florida. Not that exciting. So Cherry was asking about mangoes, and she is up in Ocala. In the world of Central Florida, you're near the northern end of Central Florida. Going to be a little bit tougher for you. People who are technically at the southern side of Central Florida, Kissimmee anywhere in Polk County, Osceola County, inland, and then over in Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, or whatever on the West Coast, it's going to be easier for them to grow mangoes. So you can grow them. You're really going to have to put some planning into exactly where you're going to plant it, and think before you stick it in the ground, how am I going to keep this warm when the weatherman says it's going to be like the mid-20s? If you can do that, then you can grow mangoes. They're going to grow a little bit slower because they're going to have a longer period during the winter where they're just not growing very well. They won't grow as fast as they would, let's say, down in Miami. But yeah, you can still have mangoes, and we'll do a class on them. So you're very welcome. Okay, Bassem, thank you. So for everybody else, I'm sitting here sowing the seeds of good comments for my boss. Hey guys, every little bit helps, right? So Alicia, I need to wrap it up in like 1 minute here, but let me go ahead and remind everybody once again, and Alicia, if you just tuned in with us, be sure to be here next Thursday morning, 10 a.m., because it is going to be our 3-year anniversary virtual plant clinic. And we are going to let all of you, if you want to, join us online. Next week, I'll send the link to join us to Teresa. I'll give you all her email. You can email her. She'll send you the link. I would, but I kind of got my hands full here running this. And if you have a microphone and a camera so that we can hear you and see you in the camera, you can actually come on here with us. That way we can all be together for our 3-year anniversary. So be sure to join us next Thursday. It will hopefully be a fun time. And Alicia still has cabbage and kale growing. I still have kale in my garden. Oh my gosh, it's still growing great. I'm eating it a lot. One final tip. If you grow kale, and even if the leaves get really, really big, take the kale, wash it off, peel the leaf part off of the vein, the big fat mid vein that goes up the center. The vein is real strong. Just the leaf part is really pretty good. You can do, and I've done like onions and garlic and mushrooms. You could chop up a tomato and throw it in. The kale part, if you want to cook it, goes in at the very end. Only needs a little bit of heat. Only needs a few minutes to make it kind of melt. And it's done. It's set. You don't have to cook kale very much. So, yeah, kale. Gosh, kale is super easy to grow during the winter. And if you can keep it going, now eventually it's going to taste bad. It's going to try to send up flowers. It's going to fail. It's going to get bugs. But as long as it's doing okay, keep picking it. Keep eating it. See how long you can kind of keep it going. And Lee says that her aunt grows mangoes in St. Pete, but sometimes it freezes. They have problems. They grow it even further north of there. Tarpon Springs, apparently people grow a lot of mangoes there, but it is right on the coast, so it always stays a little bit warmer, so that definitely helps. Buddy, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll have you on next week also. I think you're definitely one of our longest standing viewers. And the last question of the day, Alicia says, can I grow peppermint, rosemary, and thyme now? Yes, right now is a very good time to either plant them from seeds or buy the little plants and transplant them and grow them to be bigger. Or if you know somebody who's successfully growing, especially peppermint and thyme, peppermint, if you get runners off of it, it roots really, really easy. Thyme grows in kind of a floppy vine also. It should root pretty easily. And you should be able to root rosemary too. I've never tried it, but it should work pretty easily. So Alicia, you can put in just about any herbs this time of year. You're over in Orange County, Orlando area. You can plant any different kind of basil right now. Good time of year for basil. It's getting warm. and most any other kind of herb. The ones that you really don't want to plant now, because you should have been growing them all winter long, is going to be dill, parsley, and cilantro. Cilantro likes it where it's like really cool. If it's warm, cilantro is going to come up and die or not grow really well. Dill and parsley grow great here in Florida in the winter. It likes the cool weather. So if you have parsley and dill going right now, it's probably going to go downhill in the not too distant future. And Teresa shared one last fact sheet there. If you want to click in that on that link. So spring herbs, different things herbs you can plant in the spring. I need to plant my basil this weekend too. Thank you so much for reminding me. Basil grows like a weed. I've grown a bunch of it. I've dried it. I have 2 different varieties, dried and ground, and on my spice rack. I use it a lot. So for me, it's definitely a winner. But basil, you have to grow in the spring or the fall. Winter is too cold, and the middle of summer is too hot. So you can grow it twice a year, but you need to aim for spring or fall. So basil this weekend should be a really good time of year. We'll find out, I guess. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Like I mentioned several times, please be sure to tune in next week, next Thursday at 10 a.m. We will have some special guests on here, and we're going to have our 3-year anniversary virtual plant clinic to answer all of your questions, and you guys can help us celebrate. And thank you so much to all of you, because without you, we wouldn't be doing this. I would be sitting here talking to myself into a webcam, and that just wouldn't be right on so many different levels. So without you, none of this works. So thanks, guys. Thanks for bringing your questions every week, comments, suggestions, everything else. And hopefully we will see all of you here again next week. So until then, thanks again. See you next week. Bye.